final Apollo mission.
Distant retrograde orbit. We're going to be about 38,000 miles away from the lunar surface. We're going beyond anywhere we ever went for Apollo.
The Orion spacecraft is barreling its way back home after circumnavigating the moon and beyond in an elliptical distant retrograde orbit. Splashdown. Orion back on Earth.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor and privilege for me and my wife Teresa to be with you for this extraordinary event. The honor of the Artemis II crew. I have a bit of a tradition, which I'm going to take advantage of, that whenever I have a chance to make a presentation, I toss a few soft lunar balls out into the audience. Hello, get it. There you go. Oh, we're going to need some training out there. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great honor to be with you today. The Artemis II crew has just done an outstanding job of beginning the process that we went through almost 60 years ago now in order to land on the moon and go further than that. As did those before us in the Apollo program and subsequently, we just rode the tip of the spear that was held by hundreds of thousands of Americans and indeed by their families. They jointly made Apollo 17 the most productive lunar exploration mission that we have ever had, soon to be surpassed, right guys? Soon to be surpassed by Artemis. Now, I'd like to have those of you in the audience to raise their hands, and that should be just about everybody, who's either themselves or their families participated in Apollo. And that doesn't include the taxpayers, of course. It really was a remarkable time. Apollo 17's success, as the success of all the other missions, was owed to the patriotic dedication, the courage, the competence of young men and women, who designed and built and managed and trained and planned each of the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo missions. It was an extraordinary privilege for me to be part of that, almost through most of Apollo, certainly the latter portions of it. Now, I'm often asked what it was like to stand on the moon for the first time, and what caught my attention was this valley we landed in. And I only hope that the astronauts behind me will soon surpass the view that I had of a valley deeper than the Grand Canyon. The mountains on the north went 5,000 feet plus above us, above the floor. The mountain on the south, the so-called South Massif, was 7,000 feet plus above the valley floor. And these mountains were brilliantly illuminated by a sun as bright as any New Mexico, Texas, our Arizona sun that you can imagine. But they were set against a blacker than black sky. Just an unbelievable view. And you simulate all of this while you remember that everything you're doing is costing the taxpayer $1 million a minute. And that was in those year dollars. You can do the math. Right, Senator? The Earth that you have a view of, and I've seen several of these magnificent videos that have been prepared. The Earth is, when you're in the valley of Taurus Littrow, is hanging over that South Massif that I mentioned. And of course, every once in a while, you have a chance to glance up and look at home. It's only 250,000 miles away. What the heck? But you know that there are thousands of people taking care of you. So you don't worry. I didn't worry about that. That was just no thought at all about worrying about any risk or anything like that that might exist. You try not to do stupid things, but nevertheless, no worry. The kids particularly ask me what walking around in 1/6 gravity is like. Well, if you've ever been on a trampoline, it's like walking on an infinite trampoline, one that never ends. And I've been blessed in my life, and one of the blessings was to spend time in Norway as a Fulbright student. And I learned to cross-country ski while I was there. And that turned out to be a great technique, folks, for walking on the moon. If you want to go any distance or any rate, just practice your cross-country skiing. Now, the temperature that we were dealing with varied basically over about 300 to 400 degrees, depending Fahrenheit or centigrade or Fahrenheit, depending on how you do it. And of course, anything the sun was illuminating in the absence of any atmosphere got very hot, including your suit. We had great cooling. We had water-cooled underwear, by the way, in case you've forgotten. And anything that's in the shade gets very cold. It's exposed to 4 degrees Kelvin, which is the space temperature. And maybe increasingly through my activities, continued activities as a researcher, you're sampling evidence of creation. That's what exploration of the moon and of the Earth, and eventually of the rest of the solar system is all about. We are sampling creation. God is on our side, folks. In this infinitely complex movement of freedom into the solar system, and I'm absolutely convinced he wants us to go farther. Now, he's also on our side as well as the infinitely equally complex challenge we have in the preservation of freedom here on this planet. And I'm sure Artemis will continue to do what is required and will make God proud of these critical endeavors. And I want to, in advance of his appearance, thank President Trump for the fantastic support that he has given to space exploration and settlement. God bless the United States of America. And it is now my pleasure to introduce Colonel Matt Anderson, the Deputy Administrator of NASA. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, this is incredible. How about that guy, huh? What a legend. We have a bunch of friends of NASA here this morning and a bunch of patriots as well. Thank you all for coming. Director Kratsios, Director Vogt, Director Hassett, Special Assistant Donahoe, Assistant Secretary Coleman, Deputy Secretary Danley, Chairman Cruz, Chairman Babin, Representative Elzy, Lieutenant Governor Patrick, Dr. Bonin, Representative Paul, Ambassador Fertitta, and Dr. Pyabuff. Our astronauts, distinguished guests, welcome to Johnson Space Center. What a morning. As the chairman said, it's a good day to be in the great state of Texas. Yeah, let's do it. For more than 60 years, this center has served as the heart of human spaceflight. The patriots who work here keep America first in space. And I'd like to start by giving them, and frankly, all of our NASA rock stars around the world, a warm round of applause if you join me. Just up the road here at Mission Control, Capcom Charlie Duke was the first to hear Neil Armstrong tell the world that he had taken one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And in that same room, we heard Apollo 17 Commander Gene Cernan, the last man on the moon, for now, challenge future generations to forge our destiny of tomorrow with peace and hope for all mankind. But long before the brave American moonwalkers of Apollo changed the world, they took their first steps here in the Space Vehicle Mock-Up Facility. They then handed the baton to the Space Shuttle crews, who pioneered our presence in low Earth orbit and helped build the International Space Station. Earlier this year, the Artemis II crew added their names to that history. They carried humanity around the world, around the moon for the first time in more than 50 years, demonstrated that America is ready to return and pave the way for those who will follow. In this mock-up of the Orion spacecraft, Reid, Victor, Christina, and Jeremy spent countless hours learning how to live and work inside a spacecraft roughly the size of 2 minivans. Because when you are that far from home, you don't get the luxury to call time out. You rely on your preparation, your crew, and your training. That is what human spaceflight demands. Years of training, sacrifice, trust in your crew, trust in the spacecraft, trust in the team behind you, and ultimately the courage to strap into a rocket, leave this planet behind, and carry out the mission. It's the same courage and dedication we are calling on every astronaut to bring to the missions ahead, because we need it now more than ever. The second space race has begun, and right now America is on a shot clock. Our national security, the prestige of our nation, and the dreams of millions of Americans are riding on our ability to get the job done. This is an extraordinary responsibility, but it's also an opportunity. The next generation is watching. They're going to remember the men and women who return America to the moon, build an enduring presence, and open the door to Mars. But none of this would be possible without strong leadership from the top. President Trump ignited the golden age of exploration and discovery. He gave us the vision. His Working Families Tax Cut Act gave us the resources. And the Artemis II crew took the first steps. For their courage and service, today the President will present this crew with the Congressional Space Medal of Honor. But before I bring them out, we'd like to give you a recap of what it took to earn this honor.
This mission is an opportunity for our generation. It's about human history. It's the story of humanity.
Artemis 2 is the opening act. We're going to send them farther into space than any humans have gone before.
The question isn't go or not go. It's are you going to lead or are you going to follow?
We are going for our families.
We are going for our teammates.
We are going for all humanity.
Our Artemis 2 crew is go for launch. Full send.
Let's go.
3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. And liftoff. The crew of Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Our greatest chapters are yet to be written.
Go Artemis 2!
This is a test flight, and so every single system aboard Orion is getting tested by humans for the first time.
Our science team helped us out with a couple of craters on the moon that have not been previously named. A number of years ago, we started this journey in our close-knit astronaut family, and we lost a loved one. There's a feature in a really neat place on the moon, and we would like to call it Carol.
We do not leave Earth, we choose it. We will always choose each other.
We love you from the moon. Absolutely unbelievable. We just went sci-fi. It just looks unreal.
You can't take love to the stars, then what are we doing? That's why we send humans, is that we can share that experience.
Kathy Moonjoy.
We caught a view of Earth, and now we're completely distracted for a little bit.
We look like we're smiling at you, like a little Cheshire cat.
We all just had that weird vibe of backing up if we were getting sad.
Oh, we feel it too, but we'll be happy to have you back.
Splashdown confirmed at 7:07 p.m. Central Time. A new chapter of the exploration of our celestial neighbor is complete.
Welcome home.
Integrity's astronauts back on Earth.
We took your hearts with us, and your hearts lifted our hearts.
The golden age of exploration has begun, and we are just getting started.
America, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to bring to the stage Mission Commander Reid Wiseman, Pilot Victor Glover, Mission Specialist Christina Koch, and Mission Specialist Jeremy Hansen. Give it up for your crew of Artemis 2.
The moon, to me, it's the thing that connects me together with all the other humans in my life. I remember being a little kid lying in bed at night and just looking out at the moon in whatever phase it was in, and I was thinking, man, my friends that live like 20 miles away, they can probably look out and see that same exact moon. And then when I was in the Navy and I would look out at the moon and I'd be halfway around the planet, and I would think, man, my brother can see that moon where he is, and he's halfway around the planet from where I am. To me, it's a connection of life on Earth. We can all look up and see that moon, and it's always changing. The moon is never the same 2 days in a row. I love that. My name is Reid Wiseman. I'm the commander of NASA's Artemis 2 mission around the moon. I grew up in a little town just north of Baltimore, Maryland, about 20 miles north of the city. There was a National Guard base nearby my house, and there were A-10 aircraft that would fly over every now and then. I just would look up at them and be like, man, I want to be up there. I want to go do that. And then my brother went to the Naval Academy, and I would go every year and watch the Blue Angels fly.